A very good evening, Masquera say Muri. Yes, Zimbabwe. Ronald. Welcome, Akusha. Welcome to this program where we are looking at the issues regarding the executive, the judiciary, the police, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, and find out whether they are in breach of the Constitution. Today, we will be guided by this handbook, which is the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe, to see whether these institutions and the people who are sitting on the desks or on the benches leading those institutions are in breach of the Constitution. It is very important for us to come and give or make reviews regarding these activities and these personnel to see their code of conduct and to see how they conduct themselves in those offices. So I am going to focus much on a few sections. Number one, I want to focus on section 67 of the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. So let us go. If you have a constitution, a physical one, it should be on page 33. That is section 67 of the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. So let us go and see what it says about the issue of political rights in the nation of Zimbabwe. Section 67, subsection 1, it says every Zimbabwean citizen has the right, A, to free, fair, regular elections for any elective public office established in terms of this constitution and any other law. And secondly, to make political choices freely. So you can actually see that these are key issues on section 67 being raised on section 67. And at this juncture, we are looking at Madam Chigumba, who is a representative of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, and see how she is in breach of the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. If we go to the word free, which is on section 67(1)(a), there is a free which is there. When we are talking about being free, we are talking about an unconstrained, unhindered, an unrestricted, or an undespotic act. That is what we are talking about. So the elections conducted by Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, are they free? Are they not hindered? Are they not restricted? Those are the key issues. So looking at the new statutory instrument they have brought to the people of Zimbabwe, on that issue, we can see that they have put a restriction. A restriction how? A poor person can no longer be able to vote for another poor person. That is a complete restriction put. Why do I say so? If we go further to section 67, subsection 2D, it talks about the participation of people in the elections. It says to participate individually or collectively in gatherings or groups or in any other manner in peaceful activities to influence, to challenge, or support the policies of government and any political or whatever cause. So when we are talking about the issue of participation, you can actually see that the participation of people is now being hindered by the government, is now being hindered by the authorities, and nobody cares about what is really happening. And let us go to subsection 3. It says to vote in all elections and the referendums to which the Constitution of any other law applies, and to do so in secret. And this is very, very important and key. To stand for election for public office, and if elected, to hold such an office. So we have talked about me being allowed to participate individually or collectively, and I have decided to participate in politics. Then we go to 3B, which says to stand for an election for public office. And being in politics, I decide to stand for an election. And Madam Chigumba has come to breach my constitutional rights. How? By introducing $1,000. $1,000. How many months is somebody working in government going to work to raise such an amount to be able to stand for an election? Which means the elections in Zimbabwe are now for the rich, for the elite, not for the poor. And because of that, Madam Chigumba is in a breach of the constitution and is going against the constitution. So which means any other secondary law which comes in is going contrary to the law, which says inini ndiri kufanira kunge freely, fairly. That is the reason why we have read about we have given definition of the word circumstances of a free election. If we are to talk about a fair, it must be a balanced, it must be an equitable, it must be open, it must be favorable. So the question to Madam Chigumba is this election favorable? Is it election equitable? Is it just? Is it balanced? It's not. Why? Only those who afford are going to contest as MPs, as councillors, as senators. So you can actually see that by only this statutory instrument, which was raised and approved by ZEC, you can actually see that there is a breach of the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. Let us go on to a second issue. We have talked about Section 67 of the Constitution. If you have a Constitution, or if you don't have a physical one, go on to Google Play Store, download a Zimbabwe Constitution, so that you can actually be able to read and we can be together when we are dealing with these issues. So you can write down Section 67, then you read at a later stage, download from Google Play Store that Constitution. Let us go to Section 219. Section 219, it speaks about the police, and it's a very important section here. Section 219 of the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. Let us look and see. We are not talking about Baba Matanga, Commissioner General of the Zimbabwe Republic Police. Section 219. Let us see his functions. So the police service and its functions, section, that is Section 219, subsection 1E, upholding this Constitution and enforcing the law without fear or favor. That is a function of the police of Zimbabwe, headed by Police Commissioner General Matanga. They must uphold this Constitution and they must enforce the law without fear, without favor. Okay, fear is key, favor is key. These are two words we have taken from that sentence. Let us go to 219 subsection 2(3). It says that the police service must be non-partisan, national in character, patriotic, professional, and subordinate to the civilian authority as established by the Constitution. As established by the Constitution. But I'm going to give you key issues here. It must be non-partisan, it must be national in character, patriotic, professional, and subordinate. So the key issues we want to look at, so that we can see if Commissioner General Matanga is in breach of the Constitution, we need to look at what happened in Chipinge recently. These are recent activities, recent issues, where CCC was supposed to hold a rally in Chipinge, and they wrote to the Zimbabwe Republic Police, headed by Commissioner General Matanga, and they were denied access to the venue. Reasons were cited. Okay, there is an issue which is there, which is of concern. MOPA is of concern. MOPA was mentioned in that letter. Okay, tomorrow or the next day, let us go to Masvingo. There was also a rally, CCC rally, same rally, convened by the same political organization, and the instructions were the same. Which means there is no way the person who wrote for Chipinge could have omitted some things in that letter, because there are protocols within the Citizens Coalition for Change. There are people who check whether those letters are conforming to the law. These are lawyers who know the law and how to interpret the law. So it means they've actually interpreted the law and have followed the MOPA. How? We see it in Masvingo, where the rally in Masvingo was approved without a problem. What would have Commissioner Matanga done? He would have called the person who dismissed that letter in Chipinge and the person who approved that letter in Masvingo. He would have called them and said, guys, let us have a conference, even a virtual conference, and say, guys, can I see the letters? He sees the letters and asks, what does MOPA say? Because you in Masvingo, you approved this this rally. You in Chipinge, you dismissed this rally, or you rejected or disapproved this rally. What went wrong? You would have done that as a commissioner who is impartial. So you can actually say that this is putting the police of Zimbabwe on the spotlight. Why? The questions are being raised. Why is it that if you go to this town is going to approve Advocate Nelson Chamisa's rally, and the next town is going to reject? But the laws are the same. Why? According to 2193, we are talking about non-partisan, number one. National in character, which means the same laws which affect the police in Bulawayo are the same laws which affect or guide police in Masvingo, in Chiredzi, in Cholocho, in Chipinge. They must apply the same laws because they are nationalistic in nature and they are national in character. So we are talking about character. You know the characteristics which does not define that. You cannot go or delve into all those issues. So basically, if we are to look on this issue, we can actually see that the police general, or the police commissioner general, is in breach of the constitution of Zimbabwe. Why? Because he failed to make his people or his officers to account or to be coherent in terms of how they apply the laws or how they apply the constitution, any other regulations which are there pertaining to the issue of politics, pertaining to the issue of being partisan or non-partisan. We have seen the police giving preference to ZANU-PF. Go to Binga, they preferred ZANU-PF ahead of CCC, but CCC gave a notice first. So you can actually see that that is being partisan. We have seen the police actually sensitizing the issue of wearing yellow, sensitizing the issue of being a CCC member. That is wrong. Somebody must not be sensitized because of the political organization he or she belongs to. Look at the issue of job status color, how it is being handled. You can actually see that there is a very, very, very huge and a very big problem there. So we can talk about a lot of issues. We can talk about interference, about the orders coming from political people, from political individuals. That is an issue of the police actually applying the laws in fear and in favor, which is prohibited by the constitution. And indeed, we can prove that indeed they're in breach of the constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. Why do I say so? Let us go to section 2 of the constitution so that we look into this. Okay, before we go to section 2 of the constitution, let us explore section 164, so that when we go to section 2, we go it once and for all. Section 164 of the constitution, it speaks about the judiciary of the Republic of Zimbabwe. So, okay, if we are to go, okay, let us use section 164, subsection 1A. It speaks, okay, let me begin by subsection 1. The courts are independent and are subject only to this constitution, only to this constitution and the law, which they must apply impartially, expeditiously, and without fear, favor, or prejudice. When we are talking about only to this constitution, That is the Constitution taking a precedence or being ahead of any other law. And the law, it comes after only the Constitution, which means, and the law, which law? That is the statutory law. So when the statutory law is being applied, it must be applied impartially, expeditiously, without fear or favor or any prejudice. But what should be on the forefront is the application of the or the subjection of the courts to the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. And that is going to help us to determine whether the Chief Justice and his team are in breach of the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. So if we go to 162 subsection 1A, it talks about okay, it's 2A. Let us go to subsection 2A. Neither the state or any institution or agency of the government or at any level or other people may interfere with the functioning of the courts. So you can actually see that that is very important. Neither the state, neither nor any institution or agency of the government at any level or no other person may interfere with the functioning of the court. So when we see people tweeting about what is happening in the court, and you are a top executive within the government of Zimbabwe, when you see you tweeting, kuti achambotogara imomo for the next 3 months, achatombogara imomo kusvika 2023, just before the ruling is given, that is direct interference. One, you are compromising the independence of a judicial officer who is supposed to hand over a ruling on a certain case. It shows that you are keenly following those cases. And those cases, it's an influence from individuals who are within the state or the institutions. They must go under the review. It's either the provincial magistrate or the head at any court should take those cases for a review, or the Chief Justice should bring those cases for review to say, can I review these cases and look into these cases to see whether these cases are actually following the Constitution or the laws. Why? There has been an interference by somebody who is in other bodies of the state or other institutions. So we need an intervention of the Chief Justice to actually review and give and supervise his team very well to say, this is wrong. Any decision which is influenced by the state or the institutions or the agencies, it must not be a constitutional ruling. It means there is a breach of the Constitution, and if we are to look at it, we can actually see that there is negligence which is happening. There is the people are just doing whatever they want. There is no rule of law being applied. There is no constitution which is guiding people. Then that brings us to section 165. And section 165, it is clear on the conduct of the judiciary. Why? It says, in exercising judicial authority, members of the judiciary must be guided by the following principles. And where does the judicial authority derive from? It derives from the people. That is the Constitution. The Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe is clear. The judicial authority derives from the people. Which people? The people of Zimbabwe. So when you are a magistrate, when you are a judge, when whoever you are, the authority you have in court, it derives from the people of Zimbabwe. You must know that. So when you are exercising that judicial authority, you must be guided by justice must be done to all, irrespective of status. You must not look, this is an MP, Anonzi, Wadga Jena, he is very close to top echelons of power. He's from the ruling party, or he's very rich, or he's very influential. And this is Job Sikala, is coming from the opposition. He's very weak. He's not rich. He doesn't have money, and so whatsoever. And you give them different status, and you give different rulings. That is wrong. As a judicial officer, you must be very conscious. You must be guided by the Constitution. Number two, you must follow the rule of law. What does the law say? Follow the law. Simply follow the law. When you go against the law, when you go on overdrive, you are simply going against the Constitution of the Republic. You are simply going against what the law of the Republic say. Let us look at section 165, 1B. It says justice must not be delayed. That is key. And to that end, members of the judiciary must perform their duties, their judicial duties efficiently and with reasonable promptness. Cases must not be delayed. We have people who have been in remand for more than 8 years, 10 years, somebody being on remand. How are you applying the Constitution which says justice must not be delayed? How are you going to compensate the person who has stayed on remand for 8 years, for 10 years? How are you going to compensate that person if he is said he is not guilty? Just imagine what is going to happen. What has happened to the family of that man? Vakura vasina baba, vakura vasina mai. So judicial officers must be very conscious when they're dealing with the law. They must be very, very, very conscious about what the law says, what the Constitution says. But they have neglected the Constitution, they have abandoned the Constitution, and they have breached the Constitution. Why? We have people who are on remand for more than 8 years who are there. And it's known. This is in the public domain, which means that the Chief Justice himself is in breach of the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. In other ways, or in other terms, he is not suitable to hold that office. He is not suitable to continue as the Chief Justice or to continue holding such a very important office. Then, section 165, 1C, it says, the role of the courts is paramount in safeguarding human rights and freedoms and the rule of law. Key three things. Number one, human rights. Number two, freedoms. Number three, the human rights. The rule of law. That is number three. Human rights must be protected. You arrest Job Sikala, you arrest Wajga Jena, you arrest Blessed Mshanga. Their human rights must be respected, despite kuti we on the politician, we on the journalist, we on the very close to somebody. Their rights must be observed, must be respected. Their freedoms, their human rights. Let us talk about the freedom. People must have their freedoms. You bring Job Sikala to court, he is coming in leg irons. The court does not care about it. You bring Wajgajena to court, these are both MPs. And Wajgajena comes in a suit. You see, where is the freedom of Job Sikala? Is he inferior? Is his freedom inferior? Those are important issues. Those are important questions. The people who are working in the justice system should ask themselves: have you read the Constitution yourself? Or mnongoverenga statutory instrument takaenda? I know some of them, they don't read the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. They don't. They just read statutory instrument takaenda, vachirwa pass. They don't care. So if they are to open the Constitution, they just open, but they don't study it so as to know its connection with the statutory instruments, or also with the statutory law itself. So the statutory law should not go against the Constitution, because the Constitution is very important. Where do we get that proof? Let us go to section 2 so that we can get to the conclusion of this discussion. So if we go to section 2 of this constitution, we are going to actually see that, should I begin by section 2 or section 3? Okay, let me begin by section 2. Section 2, it speaks about the supremacy of the constitution. So some people will say the statutory law is so powerful. Yeah, no, it's not so powerful. It derives its power from the constitution. It derives its rights from the constitution. So the magistrates, the judicial officers, before they actually apply the statutory law, they must go to the constitution and look and observe whether the statutory law is in agreement with the constitution, because the constitution is the supreme law. So if anything is being denounced by the constitution and the statutory law is approving it, that law, iriku statutory law, it becomes void, null and void. Why? It's because the constitution is the first, is the supreme law. So the supreme cannot be overridden by the law. Why do I say so? I want to give you an example before we go through this. If you go to the magistrate court and a ruling is given and you appeal to the high court, if the high court gives a different ruling, it overrides or it overturns the ruling which was made by the lower court. If we go to the Supreme Court overturns every decision made by the lower courts. If we go to the Constitutional Court, it overturns everything much. Everything. It overturns everything and anything chabapasa. Why? It's because the Supreme is above that of the lower court. So when we are talking about the Constitution and the law, or the statutory law, the Constitution is above the statutory law. So when we have here the Constitution say this Constitution is the supreme law of Zimbabwe, and any law, practice, custom, or conduct inconsistent with it is invalid to the extent of its inconsistency. Which means the conduct of Zimbabwe Electoral Commission at this juncture of pegging Mari at 1,000 for you to be an MP, 20,000 for you to be a president. My poor father can't be a president. Just because he can't raise 20,000, he can't be a president. Yes, I can't be an MP because I cannot raise 1,000. My brother in the rural area can't be a councillor because he doesn't have $100. Yes, that's true. So that is contrary to the law. That is going against the law, the supreme law. And any act which goes against the law, because the law must bring fairness, must bring equity. Mupfumi nemurombo tinofanira kusangana mudhigidho rimwe chete repolitics. Dhigidho rimwe chete hatiendi kati chinoti ava vanobhaguja yavo mvura vobuda tochinja mvura. No, takasangana imomo mupfumi nemurombo. That is elections for you. That is politics for you. So no matter how rich you are, no matter how poor you are, you must be able to contest. You must be able to represent your people. And that right has been taken away by that statutory instrument. And that statutory instrument, it is bogus and unconstitutional, which means the Timrana, madam, you are doing these things unconstitutionally. This is directly unconstitutional. I don't know how you try to justify it, but according to this supreme law, this is unconstitutional. Forcing anybody to pay those thousands is unconstitutional. And reasonable people must actually reverse these things. They must, because these things do affect. This same constitution, it speaks about how my laws should be changed. So whatever they are doing is wrong. They must have used the rightful channels of going through parliament to make sure that they change whatever they want to change and channel in that item, that bogus item. And secondly, when you are to address to Commissioner General Matanga, this constitution is the supreme law, Mr. Matanga. So when MOPA is being applied, MOPA must be applied subject to the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. And MOPA has failed to come subject to the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe, and it is against the Constitution of Zimbabwe, and the Constitution of Zimbabwe as the supreme law, according to Section 2, you have failed. You are in breach of the Constitution, sir. Your organization is in breach of the Constitution. Why? There is inconsistencies in how you apply the law itself. If we are to look at MOPA, there is inconsistency, and there is nothing about national nature or national characteristics in how you are conducting yourself and how you are actually doing your issues. Mandisa Vilakazi, thank you very much. Hansa, how are you, my brother? I am well, Mandisa Vilakazi. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for tuning in. We are looking at the key institutions or the key people in the government of Zimbabwe and how they're actually in breach of the Constitution according to their conduct. So we are basically looking at the issue of elections in Zimbabwe, and we have tried to touch what did the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe say, and what the behavior of the people who are institutions is actually telling us and saying. So if we go to Section 2, subsection 2, it says the obligation imposed by this Constitution are binding on every person. You are the president, the obligations of this Constitution are binding. You are a Chief Justice, the obligations of these constitutions are binding. You are a police commissioner, the obligations of this Constitution are binding. So every person, inini, anyani, the obligations of this Constitution are binding. So let us continue. And it speaks about natural or juristic. These are persons now being defined, natural or juristic, whether me or in institution like the Judiciary or the Judicial Service Commission, including the state and all executive, legislative, judicial institutions and agencies of government at every level, and must be fulfilled by them. That is section 2.2. It must be a lesson to the people who are occupying very, very important offices. So let us look at the definition of obligation, because a lot of people who actually come and try to, under the act of binding oneself by a social legal. So this, the binding imposed by this Constitution, you can actually see that what the demands of the Constitution, they are binding to every person. Whether you are natural, whether you are juristics, whether you are whoever you are, no matter how powerful you are, no matter how many bodyguards you have, this Constitution is above you, is stronger, is even powerful more than your bodyguards. Why? The bodyguards you have, they derive, their mandate derives from this Constitution. That's true. So you have to respect this Constitution before you do anything else. So if we are to look at the founding values and principles of the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe, if we go to, that is section 323, it speaks about free, fair, and regular elections. It speaks about adequate representation of the electorate. So you can actually see that those should be the guiding issues when we are dealing with the issues of the laws of Zimbabwe on how to to do the politics on how to conduct yourself. You are a president, you are a judge, you are a police officer. Before you do anything, if you are a police officer and you don't read the Constitution, you have a problem. You must read the Constitution. Why? Is because when you are arresting people, you have to know that these, I'm going out of the boundaries of the Constitution. I'm going against what the Constitution says. That is the reason why you see those police officers taking political orders and they execute them. It's because they don't read the Constitution very well. So when you are taking a constitutional, a political order against Nelson Chamisa or against Job Sikala or against any political person, when you are a police officer and you are taking an order, a political order, and you execute it, you are going against the Constitution, because you must be guided by the Constitution. It is the supreme law. So basically, we can actually conclude that the Constitution in the nation of Zimbabwe is disenfranchised. The Constitution in the nation of Zimbabwe is being kicked, is being stepped upon. They have tampered with the Constitution. They don't respect it. They don't care about it. That is the reason why you see the Speaker of Parliament, when he or she is actually conducting a parliament business, they just chase away people from parliament willy-nilly, basing their or justifying their actions on the rules of parliament, not the rules of the Constitution, which says everybody must be represented. And when somebody is representing people in parliament, when somebody is actually speaking, he is speaking on behalf of the people. So when you chase people from parliament because they are speaking, you are actually inheriting the people of Zimbabwe being represented by that person. You are taking away their constitutional rights to be represented. So you can actually see that that is a problem, and we need to deal with it, and we need to approach that problem as it is. So Team Zimbabwe, I hope and I believe that I have done justice to this issue. For those who came late, please revisit from the beginning so that you can understand what we were saying. Thank you very much for coming. Let us continue to register to vote and do voter registration, education, and campaigns. If you need to donate, continue donating to your organization so that signing out. My name is Ronald Wekwamakusha.